3.0 is probably the biggest update we've ever made.
It touches almost every aspect of Conan Exiles.
Fans should absolutely be excited for 3.0. It is a major patch. It includes sorcery.
Sword and sorcery. This is the other half of the genre that's been missing.
On top of that, we've got updates to the building system.
It's going to have a battle pass, perks and attributes revamp,
and shop as well, called the Black Lotus Bazaar. Sorcery is absolutely imperative to the world of Conan. When the genre was having its name coined, it literally became half of the name, sword and sorcery.
We've always wanted to add sorcery to the game. We think it's a part of the game that needs to be there to experience Howard's world in full.
A lot of other games are high fantasy games, and they focus a lot on fireballs and things that you can see coming out of your hands.
We wanted to find a way to make it feel more kind of physically grounded, sinister and evil. It's more about focusing and amplifying sorceress energy.
And as you select different words of power, you'll be building different spells.
Sorcery is broken up into two different parts. There's rituals and spells. Rituals are more kind of the crafting side of it, where you perform some kind of magical or sorcerous ritual at a crafting station at your base in order to make something, build something.
In your base, you'll build a sacrificial stone. You'll drag an unconscious combatant and put them on the stone, and there will be a ritual recipe in that crafting station to offer them as a sacrifice. Perform a ritual, draw their blood, and then the station will open up again and you can take the item out.
Tons of different rituals. Necromancy, for instance, allows you to summon the dead or create undead mounts.
A couple other rituals we have are integrated into the fast travel system that we're implementing. So we have one that's kind of a set of teleporter pads, and you'll need some blood and some brimstone to fire that pad up.
Illusions basically allow you to take a weapon or a piece of armor and apply a different look to it. So if you're able to craft two different pieces, and you like the look of one, but the stats of another, you can apply the look of one to the other. So it allows players to look how they want without sacrificing the stats that they want to have with their equipment.
We've also wanted to go through and address all of the perks that we felt were sort of underperforming and sort of give them a facelift.
Essentially, we've blown up the entire system and made a new meta. We have some great surprises, and we are really changing the way that Conan Exiles plays on all of the attributes.
Corruption is a core part of sorcery, so we wanted that to also impact the attribute system. When your character is exposed to corruption, it'll corrupt their form and their whole physical being. With that power, you can corrupt your physical self in order to gain access to special perks. Once you've reached a certain corruption threshold, your character will be able to corrupt their strength, their vitality, or their charisma into improving themselves. These benefits won't show themselves very powerful at first, but as you devote yourself more to the void, they'll start showing up and making you more and more powerful.
When we first started working on the game, we implemented the building system in a particular way.
But since then, a lot more survival games have come out that have made us realize, hey, we can do a little bit better.
Truthfully, I think the old building system was a little difficult to use with the gamepad. However, with this new system, it's designed to be used with the gamepad, and I think it's going to be so much easier for people.
It takes all the crafting recipes, all the building items that you've unlocked, and puts them all in one menu.
You can go to the section you want, find the piece you want, and it's a lot simpler.
The creative mode is incredible. You get this admin panel, it unlocks all the building pieces, and you can create your perfect home or castle or fortress.
A fundamental change in how you can build in the game.
It'll be really, really easy, I think, for people to build their perfect home.
Some building pieces are part of the Battle Pass and others are going to be in the shop. In the Battle Pass, we have sorcery-themed building pieces which are built to complement and supplement the existing base building sets.
The main reason we're doing the Battle Pass is so that we can continue to release free features. I'm a strong believer that monetization should be more on the cosmetic side, changing the way you look necessarily and not changing the power of things.
So the Battle Pass, you're going to get some really cool things.
New armors, weapons, mounts, that are all built around the sorcery theme.
There are two ways to progress through the Battle Pass, and the first is to play the game. Every day you'll be given a series of challenges, and when you complete one of those challenges, you claim the experience from it, and then that challenge is replaced with another one. If you don't want to play to unlock everything in the Battle Pass, you can also purchase levels in increments of 1, 5, and 15. So for those of you who have less time, that option is there as well.
So we won't have cosmetic DLCs like we did in the past with the culture packs. We will have battle passes and ages instead.
We are going to have multiple sorcerer-themed armor and clothing options. Some of them will be in-game and craftable. Others will be offered as part of the Battle Pass or as part of the shop.
We're also adding an item store to the game, and this will allow players to have more of an a la carte option for what they want to buy.
It's been a long time coming, making sorcery.
With each new release of Conan Exiles, we're trying to make the kind of game that we feel like our players want to play and that we want to play.
So if you want to see more of this, definitely follow our Conan Exiles Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of that.
Thank you all for all of your support and for playing our game and enjoying it.
And I hope all of you have a great time exploring the world and finding the things to do those dark, evil rituals and become the twisted sorcerer atop a tower.
Hello.
Hey.
Greetings. Greetings and salutations, friends, and thank you for joining us for the official talk of all things Update 3.0 Age of Sorcery. My name is Andy Bendit.
I'm Nicole.
Dennis.
And we are here live in the Durham, North Carolina studio. It actually has been quite some time. I think our last stream was like 8 months ago, so I'm just like...
It was a while. Yeah.
It's been a while.
Just trying to get back into the saddle. I haven't been in front of the camera in a little while, so pardon me if I'm a little...
Oh, it's an exciting time, though.
Yeah, plus, like, yeah, this is an exciting, like, this will be an exciting stream. This will be an exciting time. We're going to be going into a bunch of details about all things with this update, and working to, of course, pick up on any questions you might have in chat or things that...
a lot of them.
Plenty. I'm sure there were plenty. We saw plenty over the weekend as well, and so we'll work to certainly address as much as we can. During the stream. We're going to go over a lot. So, like, buckle in. This might be a long stream. We were originally planning, like, maybe, like, an hour, hour and a half. Don't be surprised if we go over, like, 2 hours at this point. But, yeah, so today we're going to be going over everything to do with the Age of Sorcery update coming up in quarter 3, 2022. We'll be talking about sorcery and how that works. We'll be, of course, talking about the new building system, the revamped attributes, the Battle Pass, and the Black Lotus Bazaar. Not necessarily in that order. And then we'll of course take some time to answer questions that may have come up, or may come up in chat, or things that we've seen. And we'll go from there. This is a really exciting time. Thanks for joining us.
So,
any forward from you, friend, before we jump into things?
Yeah. So we know there's going to be a lot of questions about this, and if it looks like I'm reading off script a little bit today, I did prepare a lot of notes so I don't get anything wrong, because a lot of the stuff we'll talk about today, we know for a lot of people can be touchy. So to talk about the Battle Pass and the Bazaar to begin with, as we started to get into the features that we're putting into this update, we decided that we had to have a new monetization method for Exiles. We knew that if we made Exiles, it had to be free, or sorry, if we made Sorcery, it had to be free, and it had to be for everybody. So we didn't want to have to make a DLC and ask you to pay for a feature that should be part of the core fantasy of the game. So we decided we'd have to create an update that can both ship the Sorcery and generate revenue at the same time. And we decided to develop these features to support the future of the product as well. We do want to move Exiles into being more of a fully supported games as a service kind of product, and this helps meet that end. So if you're an Exiles player now, and probably a lot of you are, there aren't a lot of ways when it comes to DLC for you to get your hands on new content. We've released a handful of culture packs that give you an assortment of armor and building pieces and other miscellaneous cosmetics. But for the most part, there isn't a lot of opportunity to invest more in the game that you want to play. So these new systems will let us offer more items at a faster rate and let you pick and choose the things that you actually want to get. So whenever a new pack of stuff comes out, maybe you don't really care about the building pieces and you just like to get the armor or the weapons, and that'll be a choice with these pathways. And there are no paywalls in our system. Nothing will prevent you from experiencing any content in the game. We'll not sell power in the shop of any kind. It'll only be novelties. And there's no need to buy anything if you don't want to. I've put a lot of effort into this personally to make it as non-intrusive or non-invasive as possible. And we'll go over more of the details of all these things as we get into it more.
Indeed.
As well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, something I kind of wanted to point out also is that it's actually like super like non-intrusive. The battle pass stuff is like, it's just like in a corner of the screen, which you'll see in just a second. So let me
Yeah, we have a lot to show off.
let me pull this up just really quick.
And like I'll be looking
let's
down
see.
a lot. I've got my laptop here, reading everybody's chat. We also have some of the community team in chat, so they'll be there to help with any questions as well.
So let's see how this works. Okay, so here is what the battle pass will look like. You might have seen this in the trailer that we just aired. Dennis, can you walk us through like kind of what we're looking for, clarify things, or if there are any questions that we had seen previously, if there's anything you want to touch on from here?
Yeah, I think the first thing to talk about is just like a tiny disclaimer that all the stuff that's in the trailer and even things we're showing on stream today are still a work in progress. So we have a little disclaimer in the corner of the stream. We had to, make the trailer to show everything to everyone to get them excited about it, but a lot of the details that you go in and fish and check out will be a little bit off for what they would be in the end. I know a lot of things that people do ask about in terms of the shop itself is like, are these the prices, and the prices themselves are even still a work in progress. I had a conversation about it just this morning briefly. But yeah, looking at the Battle Pass, what we're seeing here is basically similar to what you would see in a Battle Pass in other games, where you have a series of rewards, you interact with the game, and you engage with the systems like you normally would to receive the rewards in the Battle Pass. As you play through and get that experience from finishing the challenges, you'll unlock Battle Pass levels, and those levels will let you claim the rewards if you own the Battle Pass. If you don't own the Battle Pass, there will still be about 12 rewards in this pool of 60 that'll be completely free. So even if you're not paying into the Battle Pass to get all of the rewards, there's still some little novel things you can pull out of it.
And then like you can see, so these are the first two like pages of the Battle Pass, and so you can see a few examples of the items that are pretty clearly marked as free. So you don't need to actually like have the Battle Pass if you want to still like level up your pass and like get those, for example. And then all this stuff is accessible from like the very top menu there, and so it's just an option that you can just select once you go to that menu. I
can go into a bit about the structure of the Battle Pass also.
Sure.
The way that we'll lay things out. So whenever we decided again that we wanted to put a Battle Pass in, to me it felt very important that we try to integrate that with the world and the story of Exiles as much as possible. There are a lot of games that have a Battle Pass and it's just kind of this tacked on monetization thing that's in there, and I was like, if we do this and we make it part of the game, we should try to make it part of the world too. So with every Battle Pass, you'll see as you scroll through the pages, there will be a series of tableaus that unfold and tell a story about something that has happened or happening in one of the maps. So the current one for Age of Sorcery is a series of events that is occurring in the exiled lands. And as you go through and complete the different pages of the Battle Pass, the little text, there's a little scroll up in the corner and some text will reveal and kind of lead you along what the story is.
That's the stuff in the very top. Well, okay, you can't. Anyway, way in the top left of our screen there, you can see it's a bunch of gibberish, but that will start materializing into legible language as you complete more of the Battle Pass.
Yeah, to go along with the idea of sorcery being, as you'll learn more about it, it's kind of a sort of archaic or like otherworldly kind of language, I suppose. And as you're unlocking this experience in the Battle Pass, you're gaining the knowledge to read the runes. And so the structure for the Battle Pass is going to be such that we have ages, like Age of Sorcery, and then each age will be broken down into several chapters. And those chapters will be where we hit the big content updates. With each one of those chapters, we'll not only be adding new things in the shop and new rewards in the Battle Pass, but we will be adding new playable content or major updates to existing content at the same time. So whenever we do an update, it's not just going to be, oh, here's more stuff to buy. It's going to be, okay, here's also some new stuff to do. So that's the way we'd like to follow through with that going forward.
Yeah, and all those like major gameplay features, like we're committing to not having like, you know, that will be just added to the game as like part of the base game. That
Exactly.
You don't have to you don't have to buy anything
Yeah.
to gain access to it. Just like sorcery, right? So like there'll be a battle pass, but like, you know, anything new and exciting we do add, like that'll be available for everyone.
Yeah, a big part of the reason we wanted to go down this route is because it lets people opt in and support us when they want to, or just if they see something really cool they want to have. And then that helps us actually fund further development of the game, so we can make all of our other features coming out free for everybody and really justify continuing to support Conan Exiles, because it's a game we love. You know, the team that works on Exiles wants to keep working on Exiles, and we want to keep adding stuff to it, but we have to be able to justify it at the end of the day. You know, like Andy said, we have to keep the lights on.
Yeah. We got to keep the lights on. We, you know, this is all. You know, we have a lot of amazing, like, talented designers and artists and all sorts of people working here. But at the end of the day, yeah, we got to keep the lights on. Gotta stay fed, et cetera, et cetera. So, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
And so next, I wanted to touch into. So you had mentioned challenges. That is the primary method of how one would level up the battle pass, correct?
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll swap over to this. Cool.
There's a lot of details for challenges as well. I know, like, a lot of questions have been raised about them already as well, and I have a list of some stuff that I'd like to go through just so I don't miss anything.
Yeah.
The battle pass can be the battle pass can be progressed by completing challenges. Challenges give battle pass experience and levels, and as you progress through the battle pass levels, you can claim the rewards, as I mentioned before. There are 60 rewards in our battle pass at present, and if you don't own the battle pass, you can still earn about 12 of those rewards, like I mentioned before. Owning the battle pass lets you claim everything at no additional cost. So there is a cost to purchase the battle pass, and once you spend that amount of money, you'll be able to claim everything for each level that you unlock. There's also a premium battle pass that all it does on top of the normal battle pass is grant you 15 additional levels. So as soon as you buy it, you get 15 unlocks right away, no matter where you're at. The levels are linear, so they'll always be 1,000 experience to complete. There's no increased grind the further you go. You can also buy additional levels with Crom coins if you don't want to do challenges to gain the XP. And now to look at the menu for some of the stuff that we have. Every 24 hours, you'll get XP multipliers on each slot that's available to you. So you can continue to complete those challenges for normal XP once those multipliers are gone. So that 2x times 150, 2x times 30, etc. that you see at the top, those are the multipliers you get. And you get 5 a day, like I said. It can pull up to 20 in the back end as well. So you can miss 4 days of playing the game, come back, and still have 25 total multipliers to be able to go through and do all the challenges you want and still get that bonus XP to prevent you from falling behind. You can also reroll challenges. I know one of the questions someone asked was, can you pay for rerolls? But I think that here...
Oh.
Yeah, so those are dice now.
Yeah, the icon in the video was temporary. It was a copy over from the shop where you can purchase Crom coins. And we've done a lot of work on the UI since then to make things more clear where things can be bought and can't. Similarly, with the remaining XP boosters thing up in the corner, I changed that text to say XP multipliers remaining because it sounds less like something that you can buy. And we don't really want the people to have the illusion that we're just trying to nickel and dime people and, you know, hit you with as many like microtransactional dark patterns as we possibly can. That's not the case.
Right.
We avoid them as much as we possibly can.
Yeah. So don't worry. I know. Yeah, that was definitely something that came up. So yeah, and then in addition to that, so like there's the multipliers, but then once you use up your day's multipliers, like you can still like infinitely complete challenges.
Yeah, if that's the thing that like you're motivated to do because it gives you a goal or something you want to do, the challenges are there for you to keep going through them. You just won't get that multiplier. Another artifact of the past is that these all say 2x on them. So I know some people have already done the math to try to figure out how long it would take you to finish the battle pass. Those values, the XP values haven't changed, I believe. We might have brought the bottom end up, so I think 30 is no longer the minimum. It might be 40. I can clarify all this later, or you guys can just see it when it comes out.
Yeah, it's all subject to change still anyway.
There's that, and the multipliers are going to be 10x by default now too, so it's going to be much faster than you would have calculated based on the release video, the teaser video. I do also have information on how long we expect it to take to complete the battle pass, but I'll get to that when I get to it in my notes. The battle pass can be completed purely by finishing challenges, so you'll never be asked to pay again after you buy the battle pass. If you complete the majority of the battle pass, and I think this is up to like level 57 or somewhere abouts, you'll be refunded for the cost of the battle pass throughout the progression through it. So you see in some points on the track we give you Crom coins. Those in the end will total up to be the entire cost of the battle pass. So theoretically, if you buy one battle pass the first time and you complete all of them up to that point that you participate in, you will always get your Crom coins back and be able to buy the next one at no additional cost. It's like you buy the battle pass once, as long as you don't spend those Crom coins, you can keep buying each successive battle pass. And we'll be keeping an eye on the progress that everyone makes in the battle pass. If we feel it's taking too long for too many people, we can tweak the XP multiplier on challenges or the XP values in the back end and speed things up for people to help them.
And that won't require like a patch or whatever either.
That's right. It'll be a change on our side that just automatically goes out to everybody. When you get new challenges, you'll get the new data and you'll be able to keep up with everybody else. We base the amount of time needed to complete the battle pass on someone being active twice a week for at least an hour per session. So most of the challenges you get will be completed when playing normally, and you'll get, if you get challenges that you don't think you complete, that option to reroll is there as well. I believe right now we give 3 rerolls per day, and 1 reroll changes all of the challenges. So if there's something in that list of 5 that, or anything in that list of 5 doesn't suit what you want to do, you have 3 chances a day to just completely get rid of those and look for something else that's more suited to what you might want to do. And I think that's pretty much the majority of what I have to say about the challenges at the moment.
Cool.
There's a lot of, one of the notes you left was there's a lot of really cool exclusive rewards like war paints, wall sprays, placeables, building pieces, emotes. There's a lot of awesome stuff in there.
Yeah. Wait, so wall sprays are new, right?
Yeah, it's essentially a really quick little R&D thing we did where we were like, hey, it would be cool to be able to place decals on the wall or on the floor, or just be able to decorate more. So it's kind of just a little thing you make at the dyer station and the bench, and you can just spray like an image of a rhino on a wall or something like that.
Sweet, nice.
Oh, also item illusions are a really big thing to talk about, right?
Yes, we can talk about that. Let me pull that up. Actually, that's under my other stuff, but let's show that off now.
We have a lot of questions, and we'll probably answer. I mean, not all of them, but as we go through. But we may have answer questions.
Yeah.
Maybe if we have time.
Yes, certainly. I think, and then certainly we'll work to answer questions, or like as we're progressing through like our points. Hopefully, we are able to answer some questions that may have already come up. But if you see anything particularly pertinent or being asked a ton, don't be afraid to just like bring it up, and we can. Be fine with that.
There's one in particular that I saw a lot was if this is just official or if it's also for private.
Yeah, so the Battle Pass and the shop will be on all servers of all types. They'll be on official servers, private servers, modded servers, and single player. No matter where you play, you'll be able to participate in the Battle Pass and purchase things from the shop if you want to.
Sweet. What we have up right now is actually the upcoming weapon illusion system. Let's see if I can just actually to set that up. Okay, so we're adding an illusion system to the game, and so at one of the new stations that you can build, I believe it's called the Falmaturgy Bench here, you can make a weapon look like a different weapon. Now there are some restrictions to that. They have to be of a like type. So, like, you can't make a short sword look like an axe or like a hammer or something like that. And I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have to be able to craft the item that you want to take the appearance of normally.
Yeah, there's a slight caveat. You do have to be able to craft the item that you want to use the appearance of, unless you use one of the illusion items that we've made. So one of the things that you might get for free in the shop or in the Battle Pass will be an illusion item that we can just take something we think looks really rad and people will like to see or check out, and we can make a version of it that you can use in the Thaumaturgy bench, even if you don't know how to make the items. So here you can see in the video it says these items aren't compatible.
Yeah, because I'm trying to take
you don't know how to.
Well, it's because it's a different type of weapon. So I'm taking I'm taking a steel short sword and trying to make it look like the Yamatai Naginata, different types of weapons. But then I swap. I take the appearance of the Yamatai Assassin's Blade, which is a one-handed sword, which then can take the appearance. For example.
So that's the only restriction, is it has to be, like Andy said, the same type. You can make any two-handed axe look like any two-handed axe. You can make any chest piece look like any chest piece. All you have to do is know how to make this bench and know how to make the items that you want to combine.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's a cool thing that we're going to be adding, and then also like kind of gives us extra options to like throw in as goodies here and there. Also, like if really make some like really cool weapons in the future, something like that, we can just like potentially just like have the illusion items in addition to like actual crafting recipes or something like that.
Yeah.
Just as an example, but this will be a system that will launch with the update.
While we still have people, I want to throw in one clarification.
Everyone's just leaving now. That's fine.
At some point, as soon as we start answering more questions, we'll have less people, right? But while everyone's still here, our monetization expert wanted me to chime in and say that the amount of time we base our play sessions on, being 1 hour, is not 1 hour doing challenges. It's 1 hour of a normal play session, expecting that you will naturally complete the majority of those through normal play.
That is good clarification. Thank you, friend, for that. It's okay. We've covered a lot of the stuff at the Battle Pass, a lot of stuff at Challenges, Illusion System. Is there anything else that you think we're missing before we move on to the Bazaar? The Bazaar?
I think it's shop time.
I think it is shop time. All right, cool. Where the heck is it? Where did I put that? Shop.
You're saving the best for last.
Of course. Naturally. Okay. This is the Black Lotus Bazaar. FPO stands for for placement only. It's just a placeholder. Don't worry about it.
Work in progress.
Yeah, it's all work in progress. Like that's it's not some anyway. Yeah, it just means placeholder. So yeah, this is certainly something that another thing that we've seen plenty of comments about, and so we're hoping to be able to allay any concerns you might have about just how this works.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things to touch on is that stuff in the shop doesn't go away forever when it's gone. It does have a timer on it. A lot of the reason we have a shop set up like this right now is because the back catalog of items that we have will not be so extremely large that it makes a lot of sense to have a lot of categories where you filter in a lot of stuff. So in order to be able to get everything cycled through and have everyone have their eyes on it, it makes more sense for us to just be able to show a few items at a time and be able to really showcase how cool they are. Because like with a lot of these, you can see we've got some really cool art made to show them off. Like the sandstone set at the bottom is down here.
Sorry, I'm just like
I absolutely love the way this looks, and like I had this image in my head and I asked for it and got exactly what I wanted, but it's just basically like a little diorama where we can display all the stuff that's in the set and have a building made of the pieces that are included in it. And I think it looks really cool. But yeah, the Bazaar is its own set of stuff that rotates in and out. It's different from the Battle Pass. The items in it won't be Battle Pass items. You can just snag bundles like cosmetic armor sets, placeables, building pieces, emotes, and the like. It'll rotate out based on the size of the preview in the shop. So the Big Daddy preview, this one lasts 30 days. The medium-sized ones over here will cycle every 2 weeks. And the smaller ones, like these two over here, rotate every 48 hours. Like we've said before, we'll never sell power in the shop. Any items like weapons or armor that you get from the Battle Pass or from the shop will have similar stats to previous DLC armor and weapons that you've seen before, where they kind of just sit along that iron tier, and then you get an epic version that you can make as well.
It's like the Star Metal tier or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's the plan. We don't plan to sell things that make anyone any stronger through the Battle Pass or the shop. It's all novelty It's all cosmetic. It's all for fun.
And then one thing I know that came up also was when we rotate items, like they're not gone. Like the sale of the item or whatever is just being rotated. Like items will come back in rotation, like as discounted or whatever over time. Like it's never going to be like, oh, if you don't get this in now in 40, like one of these small ones, like it'll come back at some point.
Yeah,
just like any other sale, like in the world. So
I know some people ask too if because we're going to these like shops in Battle Pass that we own, if we would still have sales or discounts. But yeah, there will be sales on items in the shop, and going forward, you'll see those marked off. I think we have maybe some images as well that show that discount, but we'll see. If you don't see it now, you'll see it very soon.
Yes, I don't have any of that loaded up here, but yeah, I mean, eventually y'all will see it. So again, yeah, like if something gets rotated out, like it'll come back at some point. So you won't like permanently miss out on anything that's like shown here. Hope that helps. Cool, great. That's a lot of nitty-gritty housekeeping stuff and a lot of exciting stuff. I know it's like edge of your seat, riveting experience.
I guess
shop and battle pass
before
stuff,
we move on from the shop and battle pass stuff, there's actually more notes that I didn't work into.
Yeah, please.
The stuff that we touched on before. So the battle pass will be updated every 90 days. It's right around 13 weeks. So all the previous content will be removed and new content will be put in its place when the battle pass goes away. We have to, the seasons that come in, the ages will be in place for usually probably around 2 to 3 chapters, and each chapter is what will be updated every 90 days. So you have those 13 weeks to get the battle pass, get through everything that's in there, and then we'll put another one in its place and keep going forward with it. So that's kind of the update cadence you can expect for features as well. So whenever we add that new battle pass, like I mentioned before, we'll also be adding new content, new features, new things to do at the same time. Already touched on battle passes and challenges being available on all server types. The battle pass and the shop are intended to replace the old DLC packs going forward. So if we make new culture packs or new maps, we'd always like this to be the platform that we deliver it through. I know a lot of people had that question. I think that's kind of where the question of, will I still be able to get things on sale came from.
Yeah.
I also have one question.
Yeah.
There was a question if the battle pass rewards are account-based per server.
Yeah, I saw a comment about that on YouTube as well. It was literally my next bullet point.
Oh, great.
I saw a comment on YouTube saying that they hope things that you pay for will be account bound, and that will be the case. Anything you buy that will be available, or anything you buy will be available on any character you have or ever make. So there's only one slight exception to this rule, and it's if we add free single-use items to the shop or those free slots in the battle pass, you only get to claim those once per character. But outside of that, every other thing that you ever have will be with you forever.
Right, and if you make a new character, then you would be able to get that one stack or whatever of an item, for example, on that new character.
The consumable things that you claim, you can't get those again. So whenever you say you complete one of the free tiers in the battle pass and it gives you a cool like sword illusion, you claim that on that character, and that's the only time you can claim that. You can't go back and start the battle pass again. You get that item once, you get to see it, and it's gone after you're done using it. But everything else will always be there.
Cool.
And something was in my head about it, and
I lose my train of thought every 3 seconds.
It'll come back to you in the middle of the night.
We'll wake up in a cold sweat and just be like, oh, that's what I wanted to say, and just like frenetically, just like tweet.
Yeah.
Rogue on the Exiles account.
Oh, I actually did remember it.
Yeah,
we added a new tab in what you guys know now is the feats menu. We've renamed the knowledge menu to make it more streamlined with the rest of the language around the system. So we added a new category in the knowledge menu that's called Ancestral Knowledge that has all of the stuff that you'll ever get from the shop and the battle pass all in one place.
Oh, cool.
So you'll see when you make a new character that you have all that stuff ready to go right out of the gate.
Very good. Nice and streamlined. I like it.
I think that hits all my bullet points for all of these.
Sweet, yeah. I mean, were there any hot questions that we wanted to try and answer real quick before we get into the good stuff?
Oh yeah.
How do we feel about that?
I mean, there's one question that's like not it. Basically, is the update going to come out to PC and console at the same date?
That's our plan at the moment. So as we've done most recently in the past, we're trying to keep everything in parity. So that's what we're pushing for. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like unforeseen things can and often do happen. So like, you know, the intent is that we'll make sure that it's all like released all at the same time. But, you know, if something comes up that we're not like, we didn't see ahead of time, like, you know, we'll let you know. Of course, we'll keep you updated on anything like that. Cool, great. All right. So What's next? Okay. What do we want to talk about next?
Magic.
Okay.
Yay!
We can do that.
It's time.
It's time, folks.
Wow.
So yeah. The next update, as you might have guessed by this point, with it being titled The Age of Sorcery,
What could it mean?
includes sorcery.
It's Vader time.
Oh yes, it's time. As I just choked Twitch chat. So yeah, sorcery was a really important like feature that we wanted to work into Conan Exiles for a very long time. It was one of our old OG promised features from back in early access, and we're finally able to make good on that promise. And we took a lot of care to make sure that sorcery in Conan Exiles is represented in the way as accurate as possible to Howard's original work. So like, you know, historically throughout the Conan like fiction, it tends to be much more like, so like the world itself tends to be much more of like a low fantasy fare.
Dark.
Yeah, very dark. Sorcery in general tends to be relatively seldom seen and is considered exceptionally dangerous to both people being affected by it and perhaps the caster or user if they're not experienced in their craft or if they're careless or reckless. And as with many things regarding, you know, once you get a taste of, you know, extra dimensional power, when you have like the fabric of reality like at your fingertips, power is addicting, and so you just want more. And so oftentimes sorcerers in the fiction are depicted as like power hungry.
One might say corrupt.
One might say
Right.
corrupted, indeed. Where's this thing that I had? Hold on.
You're telling me there's no broomstick riding?
No, there's no broomstick riding. There will not be. And so, like, also just keep in mind that we, like, sorcery and Conan Exiles will not feature, like, walking artillery units. You know, you're not going to be launching. Where the heck? Sorry, I'm looking through this thing right now and I can't
I'll talk
find.
about it while he does
Anyway,
that.
yeah, thank you.
That's a really important thing with sorcery and Exiles, or in Howard's universe.
Thanks.
Is, you know, we don't want you to be replacing combat in Exiles with sorcery. So I know there's also been a lot of concerns that this will turn into, you know, high fantasy spell flinging duels and swords and bows and everything will be pointless, but that goes against our like the cloth we're cut from, right?
Yeah.
Like everything about Exiles is meant to be intimate, bloody melee combat, and that doesn't change even if you're a sorcerer. There are things that you can do from farther away that can influence combat, but at the end of the day, you've got to get in there and you've got to chop stuff down just like any barbarian would, because that's the nature of the universe.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to keep true in the sorcery system as well.
And so, yeah, sorcery is in the world also is typically depicted as sort of like an evil, dark art.
Absolutely.
And you know, historically in fiction as well, you know, we know certain notable characters throughout the universe have done all sorts of fun things with sorcery. So the picture behind us, also the green picture, is actually artwork from our legacy MMO, Age of Conan, featuring Tothamon, and of course this is Falsa Doom from the classic Arnold Conan movie. But that's, yeah, to kind of give an example of like the sort of like kind of mood that you can expect when it comes to, you know, mastering or, you know, taking the dive into sorcery. Yeah, like you said, like you're not going to be throwing magic missiles or like light spells or whatever.
Zone of truth.
Yeah, we one of the design kind of directions that I gave, one of the tenets that when we started was that sorcery should not be a replacement for melee combat. We knew that when we made it, it should be different means to similar ends. So there will be different tools that you can use in the course of your gameplay, much more nefarious and evil tools than the ones that you currently have. but there'll be alternative ways to approach similar problems and solve those problems, and ways to use people as the means to that end, right?
Yep.
That's kind of the MO for sorcerers in Howard's universe is they don't mind taking a couple people and cutting them down if it means advancing their own power.
Yep. So you can actually see behind us, behind Nicole here, actually is no.
I'm always in the way.
No, it's fine. It's we're all in the way. But yeah, this is like a sacrificial altar that you can then chain someone up to, and then take their blood or steal their soul essence. Maybe later we'll have a specific DLC that has our models in as sacrificial altars.
The Argyle sacrifice.
Yeah. Instead of like body pillows, we sell like dev sacrificial altars. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I can just hear my CEO like ready to teleport behind me and break my neck right now. Yeah. So yeah, let's show off some examples of some of the sorcery that you may be able to cast. So this is actually also a example of exactly how the sorcery system actually like functions in the game and how you cast or invoke various sorceries. So can you walk us through some of what we're looking at here?
I can give some context to this as well. So whenever you start playing the game, you'll encounter sorcery kind of organically. Part of the story that is being told is that sorcerers have been kind of almost in a pilgrimage style fashion sent out into different camps in the world, and you'll encounter the sorcerers, and if and when you take them down, you might find a mysterious map. And the map will lead you to somewhere in the world that will lead you to find a scary old tome. And that tome contains power, the essence of the corruptive power that lets you cast magical spells and perform rituals. And what you're doing whenever you read that tome is you're learning a language, and we call these the words of power. The words of power are used to construct spells. So Andy, if you can actually snap back to that video of casting again, whenever you're looking at this set of stones that's coming up, what you're actually seeing is a representation of those words. And you put those words and syllables together to build a phrase that casts a spell. So the words of power are an ancient, mysterious language that at the core of its being gives you the ability to perform this magic because you've kind of absorbed that knowledge in learning it. So once you've gone out, you learn the system to unlock the words. I'm not going to spoil it all now because what fun would that be? But you figure out how to learn all the words. Right. You start to unlock more and more sorcerer's power, and you get more and more spells along the way. You'll see more of those options appear whenever you're casting spells, or you'll learn to craft more things, and you just have more tools and options available.
One thing that also you can see in the top right corner, my character has a lot of corruption, and you'll see actually corruption is now inexorably tied to sorcery in the game now. So each various spells cause additional corruption buildup on your character, up to a maximum of 50% corruption as it's currently. And different spells will increase your corruption by different amounts. You can kind of see on this example here, like obviously these values might be subject to change, but you can see here like 20% corruption. Like so, casting the spell, I believe
this one requires 20%.
Requires. I'm so sorry. Okay.
So there's kind of different power tiers of spells as well, and as you go into those higher power tiers, they require more complex reagents to cast a spell. That's an important thing to know, is that casting spells does require reagents because we want it to feel more ritualistic. We want it to feel slower paced and not like an action game where you're just pushing a button on the hotbar and flinging a spell out. It should feel like a ritual. So going into the world and collecting reagents, collecting the things you need to learn how to do the spells, all of that is part of making it feel more premeditated, more calculated, right?
Very much so,
And as you cast spells, they generate corruption on your character. They make you more corrupt because magic at its core is inherently evil in Howard's universe. There is no good magic. All of the magic that makes you more evil makes your corruption increase, and you can cast more powerful spells the higher your corruption is. So some of the more powerful spells that you've seen in the trailer already, like Flying the Bat Demon, for an example, it requires a much higher level of corruption. So if you want to be able to do that, you are going to have to risk your body and, you know, give your health away as part of the trade-off for being able to use this power.
And then you'll see in a bit too, having a ton of corruption also causes your character to have very visible, your character starts to suffer like very visible side effects, yes, for allowing that corruption within your body.
This is independent of sorcery as well, but we added a really cool effect on the character that makes them become more gaunt and pale. And you know, their veins start to stand out more with like a blackened blood looking kind of effect inside them, and it's really cool. And we've also added a spell on top of that, because I know a lot of people play the game and they want to do magic and they don't want to look nasty. So we also added a spell that actually lets you hide that effect as well. And you can turn that on and off. It actually, I believe it lasts forever until you cancel it.
Damn.
Yeah, so this is the effect of being fully corrupted.
Yeah, and then this is me very conspicuously cropping the video so you don't see the dev casting window, and then there you go.
Now you're not gross and nasty anymore. Yep. You're a in-disguise sorcerer.
You're a totally normal person, cool and good.
Someone's like, hey, that's my uncle.
Dang. All right, let's show a couple more things off
so
here.
I don't know if you would know this, Dennis, but someone was saying, like, doesn't sorcery tie into the bracelets at all? Like, as in, like, something about you can't do sorcery stuff if you have a bracelet? Or is that,
It is part of the story.
Oh.
I guess I won't divulge too much of it myself, but I'll give you the high level. The high level is there's a new shadowy, sneaky figure in the Exiled Lands. He has found a way to cast magic despite the bracelets. And beyond that, I think I'll leave it up to our creative lead, or our content lead, Matt, to give more details later.
Sorry, I will try to talk louder. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
I can
Don't
turn
mess
up.
with the
Okay.
microphone.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that.
So I know we'll talk more about this probably, but someone had a question about regards to the impact that 3.0 will have on modding. I don't know if we're going to touch on that later, or...
I can talk about it a little bit now.
Okay,
but,
sure.
One big thing is we do have a relatively large window of time prepared for modders to be able to get their mods ready. I can't say exactly how long it will be, because that might give away or set precedent for what we expect our launch date will be, and also our test live date. But we will go to test live. We will have a version of the dev kit that'll be ready to update mods, and there will be ample time for people to update mods before the game goes live. On top of that, the modability of the systems involved in sorcery is high. So we knew that when we made this, other people would either want to strip stuff out of it or add their own, or change it, create their own spells. It's all moddable.
And sorcery is going to be available on SIPTA as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Everything that you see in 3.0 in this Age of Sorcery update will be on both maps.
Great.
What we're seeing here is one of the spell called Darkness, which creates a localized darkness, for lack of a better term, and also spawns a whole bunch of these spider webs all around throughout the area, which can cause a character to become ensnared. You can use local light sources for your character to see through the darkness, like this torch, or maybe the wisp that you saw earlier. And if you step out of the area, you can still see the area of effect and where the darkness was cast off in the distance. And as you approach it, you will simply walk back into the darkness until the effect ends, and it lasts like a minute or two or something along those lines right now.
Yeah, some more cool details about this spell actually are that there is local light on your character that lets you see in the darkness better than other people see in it. And if there are NPCs in the darkness area, when you cast it, they'll actually start to cower in fear. And you can kind of go through and start to dismantle camps and kill things and take it apart methodically, instead of just hitting one guy and aggroing everything in a half-mile radius.
And kind of to touch on your part about making sure that sorcery feels like it's something that you want to premeditate and calculate, because of the kind of casting time or the process, you definitely kind of want to do these things a bit ahead of time. And also some spells will, when you cast it, at least in my experience, I was a ways away from some mobs that weren't aggroing me, and as soon as when I cast the spell, they're like, you, and they just started running at me.
The one that you used was specifically to detect, to get the attention of enemies.
That one, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
But I did that with invisibility too, and I cast
Yeah.
invisibility, and the gray ones were like, and they just immediately came after me because I was too close to them when I
Okay.
cast it.
Oh, yeah,
So maybe that was a bug. I don't know.
no, invisibility does decrease the senses of enemies around you as well.
Okay, gotcha.
You
Here,
can
we'll show
get
that off
closer
next.
to them, but you can't get right in their face. If you get too close, they will still attack you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was gonna. Someone was from chat was wondering if spells stack at all. So if you cast darkness and then invisibility, or
Some spells do, some spells don't. So there are big ones that are big environmental changes. Like we have a lightning storm that will just blast lightning bolts down at enemies below. We have that darkness spell. We have another one called Call of the Dead that raises this deathly fog out of the ground, and zombies will fight alongside you. Those big ones that have an impact on the environment are specific to one area. If someone casts a lightning storm and you cast Call of the Dead underneath it, the lightning storm will go away because we can only allow one major environmental spell in the area. But if you cast darkness and you cast invisibility, yeah, you can run into darkness invisible.
Sweet. Let's see here. Let's show off this bad boy. So talking about other things that can affect the environment as well, there's this fun one called the Ice Bridge, which has some really, I think, some interesting tactical
oh yeah,
implications. Of course, I'm up here on this ridiculous height, just to show an example of how one could use, like a really basic example of how one could use an ice bridge to cross a chasm, for example. The ice bridge is destructible, as far as I'm aware.
Yep.
And so, yeah, you can blow up an enemy one if you want.
Yeah, you can just whack it with a weapon. If an enemy puts an ice bridge up, you can smack it and strike it down. Similarly with the Bat Demon, by the time you guys get it, it'll be working the way it's supposed to. But
Right.
if you shoot someone on a Bat Demon with an arrow, it'll knock them off right away.
Cool. Okay.
And NPCs can hit people on the Bat Demon pretty consistently as well. I was testing it at the little undead camp next to the sinkhole the other day, and
Nice.
the archers there were just annihilating me with arrows while I flew
Nice.
around it.
Very good.
and then as far as I'm aware, we don't have any plans to wipe servers, right?
No,
Yeah, I
no.
don't think so.
No, everything that we put in will just be an addition on top of the game that's already there. It won't change anything about, your character itself at a fundamental level that requires a wipe, or your base at a fundamental level. When we get back into the perk and attribute revamp later, one thing to talk about is like we will do an attribute wipe. So whenever you log in, it'll tell you your attributes have been reset, and you can just automatically go in and set them back up.
Yeah, we'll talk about the specifics of the perk like revamp as well in just a little bit. Here I'm showing off one of the sorceries called Detect Resources, which basically gives you like a map hack that shows you all sorts of uncommon or like mineable resources in a pretty wide area. And so you can use this like if you're in a particularly like mineral dense area, for example, and you don't know, you want to see where like all the bits were, you can use that to see what's going on with that.
Yeah, each resource has a different color and a little effect that appears, so you can learn the colors, learn the silhouettes, and know what you're seeing.
This fun little lad is a demonic portal. This is one of the new buildings that you can create with the update.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite things.
I love the effect. What does it do?
So it's a personalized fast travel system. You don't need to absolutely rely on the map room to get around, and for people playing on SIPTA and modded maps especially, this will be a great way to be able to actually move around the map. It acts as like a placeable, any other placeable or crafting station you would put in your in a base. So you'll have to maintain it. It'll have to have land claim and decay rules applied to it. But basically, any number of these that you create for your clan will be able to access each other. And when you step inside the portal, some stones will appear and show you the names of the buildings as you've placed them out. And the stones actually point to those buildings in space. So if I'm at New River and I'm looking one at the volcano, the stone will be pointing north toward the volcano. And, it'll give you an indication of which direction you're going whenever you go from point A to point B. And you can link multiple of these together. Any that your clan builds will all be linked together.
Sweet. So that's just a little taste of some of the sorceries to come. I do want to then move into talking a little bit about how corruption, or so moving into the perk system, which we just mentioned, there will also be the ability to corrupt your perks in addition to that. So first we're going to kind of give a little context of the upcoming perk revamp, and then also show you an example of what corrupting those perks actually looks like. So first, we're going to show this off here. Actually, let me do a quick edit. And then, nope. And then that. Showing off the new perk system. So, as Dennis said, you're gonna not lose all your, but you're gonna have all your perks or all your attributes reset, and then you'll be greeted now with this updated perk window. Some of the names are out of date in this video. At the time that it was taken, I believe Charisma is now called Leadership, as of the most recent like internal build, as far as I know. And I don't know about Building, but that should be. Anyway, not again, still in development. So one of the main goals of the perk revamp was to.
This is actually important.
What?
It's actually important to talk about.
The leadership?
Yeah. So,
yes.
Because there's a lot of people that pointed this out. Savage is gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
yes.
the new names actually bring Savage back.
Yeah.
So, Charisma is now Authority.
Authority!
So that becomes the A where Grit is now. Grit moves down. And Craftsmanship is something that starts with an E. We just changed these names a couple of days ago, so it's really hard for me to remember.
Yeah.
But
Fine. Yeah.
maybe if Quaglon's watching, he can drop me the
expertise?
Oh, is it expertise?
E. I think it is.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
so Savage is back.
So everyone that was sad to see Savage gone, Savage is back.
Okay, Savage, right? Not
Yeah.
Savages, like
Right, because we did cut survival off the bottom.
Right.
I guess there's a ton to talk about with perks and attributes specifically. So, is there anywhere you want to start?
Gosh, I mean, I know.
Or would you like me to start?
Either way is fine. I mean, I know that with the revamp, one of the main goals was to make it more like a one-to-one sort of experience, where like each level you get one attribute point that you're gonna put in. So that makes things a lot easier in my eyes to like kind of plan your builds better, or like calculate your builds better. And in addition to that, while streamlining the process, you can see here that we're also now adding a choice of perks when you level up your attribute sufficiently. So in Strength's example here, you get, you see everything up. Okay, my hand got cut off. You see everything at the very top, and then you get the choice. And then, when you get the third perk, you get to choose that. And then the fourth one is another choice. And you can see the choosing option here. And that goes for all the attributes on the list. Is there anything else that I'm missing here?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much touched on it. The whole idea here is to really shake up what's available in terms of character customization and progression, and make it easier to plan for stuff. So that's why we went down to 60 points total, because the level cap is still 60. You get 1 point every time you level. Now it's easier to plan out how you can build stuff. Do I want to do like, max out 2 of them and then have 2 at 10 points each, or do I want to split one of those 10s into 2 5s? And we tried to make the choices at the 10 and 20 level a hard choice to make. So you're really deciding between like 2 very, impactful things whenever you get to those points. And we hope that leads to a lot of variety in builds. And, right now when you play, there's kind of like 3 builds that you might use depending on which activity you're doing. And for the most part, it's pretty fixed. So changing this and allowing more customization and a little more personalization, I think will make you feel more like you own your character, and it'll let you do more of the stuff you want to do instead of just doing what's there because there's no option.
Yeah, and like allowing for really giving you the option to like each of those perk choices, like you said, is like very I want to say the word like specialized. So it's like they're 2 like really powerful options, but of course picking one locks you out of the other one until you respec. And so you have to like make a one of those hard decisions that I like to make when I'm min-maxing my character, or thinking I'm min-maxing my character, of like which direction I want to go.
Yeah.
We have some questions on like how weight or encumbrance is handled.
So it's actually built into that expertise perk by default,
which is craftsmanship on this screen or this video. But yes,
yeah. So, but we added minor bonuses to all of the attributes as well. So if you invest in strength, you'll also get some more encumbrance as well too, because obviously it makes sense that someone who's more strong should be able to carry more.
Right.
So encumbrance will still be on that. It'll be on that bottom attribute that you see here. We increased the amount of encumbrance that you get per point, and this actually goes towards all of the attributes. Like the amount of strength that you get at the end of spending 20 points in strength now is similar to the amount that you would have got from spending 50 points in the old system. It's just squashed down. So you gain a lot of power a lot faster. It's a little more front loaded. But in the end, you'll still reach about the same amount of power.
Okay. And then 2 other really quick questions.
Yeah.
You may touch on this, I don't know. Will armor and weapons give attribute points?
That's important because
I was just looking up, like, good call.
Yeah,
thank you.
It also goes into this build system as well. So previously, whenever you put on armor, it would add attributes, and then it kind of muddied the picture of what you were really spending your personal development points in, because you might not really realize, oh, I put on this chest and it gave me strength, and I take it off and now I don't have one of the perks I had before. So we took the attribute points themselves off of weapons and armor, and we added the derived stats. So you can see in the strength preview, it says that strength adds strength weapon damage and additional carry weight. Whenever you get a piece of armor that would have had strength before, now it'll have strength weapon damage. So you get what is derived from that stat on the armor piece directly, instead of getting the attribute, which then gives you the stat. At the end of the day, you're getting the same stuff, but the picture of what your attribute points are spent doing is much more clear.
Mm-hmm.
And then are people's attributes going to be reset upon once the update's out, or I assume?
Yeah.
But okay.
When you log in, you'll get a pop-up. It'll be like the first thing you see that your attributes have been reset, and then you can just go right back into the menu and start fishing out what you want to spend them on.
Great.
Yep. Also of note, we are also going to be resetting a lot of binds, I think, with the update.
Yeah.
I believe it's important housekeeping. Yeah, we have,
Because a lot of things have changed in terms of input and how you control the game, as far as like specifically building is one of the big ones. But along with that, we've made changes that let you kind of double bind inputs or customize your bindings a lot more. So like right now, if you don't want the crouch button to make you let go when you're climbing, you can change just the stop, like the stop climbing button and crouch, and have those be separate buttons. So we decoupled everything and made a lot more customization available. But as a result, we need to set everybody back to the beginning, so there's no confusion about why is this button opening a menu and like crafting an item and making me jump all at the same time, or whatever wacky bindings might occur if we didn't reset them.
Yeah. So sorry in advance, but just know that you'll have to redo a lot of your binds. And just so you know, all this stuff, like all the opening your attributes, your inventory, all that, it's tabbed now.
Oh yeah. No more I to open the inventory. It's a little more keyboard friendly, being that I is a keyboard button. We changed it all to tab to open.
Yeah, but it's right. It's more ergonomic.
Exactly.
You don't have to reach over. Yeah, so
it's gonna take a hot second to get used to.
Yeah. Muscle memory, I know, is a very powerful thing, but so all that stuff you see at the top there will just be opened up with the tab button now.
I think the defaults too are that I think it's Shift Q and Shift E to switch between the tabs at the top.
Okay, cool.
So you don't tab through the tabs. Once you open the menu, you have other shortcuts to go through those menus.
Sweet. Thank you. And then, real quick, also, we had mentioned that there will also be a way to corrupt your perks.
Oh, sorry. There's one quick thing. Yeah. People are really a lot of questions about bow builds, like with accuracy, and how that is now changed.
Yeah, that's an important thing. Good question. So we took all the weapons in the game and we put them in one of 2 categories. A weapon is now either primarily a strength weapon or an agility weapon. So if you want to be a character that is primarily, an agile, sneaky jerk who runs around and stabs things in the back, you don't even need to invest in strength anymore if you don't want to. You can just invest in agility and then spend the rest of your points in all the utility and survival-based things and the other attributes. That being said, you can invest in strength, and if you do, you'll get about an extra 10% damage on top. But the vast majority of the damage for those agile weapons will come from agility. Bows are included as agile weapons, and you will get increased damage from increasing agility. There is no more, as you can see, no more accuracy attribute. It's all rolled into agility together.
So many,
Sorry
people
for
are,
clapping.
so many people are like, I'm a sneaky jerk. I'm
Yeah,
a sneaky
me
jerk.
too. Rogue main, by the way. Sorry, guys.
I'm just a jerk. Period.
Oh.
I'm more of the Unga Bunga.
Yeah, and you can Unga Bunga strength out as much as you want.
Hell yeah,
And
good.
be just as strong as you were before. If you also put points into agility, just like agility gets more damage from strength, strength gets more damage from agility as well. There's about an extra 10% shave there you can get. But it comes at a cost, because if you spend those full 20 points into agility just to get a little more damage, you lose a lot of utility and vitality, grit. All the other attributes have a lot to offer, you'll find.
Sweet. All right, gonna talk now about a little bit of a corrupted perks.
Oh yeah.
So in addition to this new perk system and tying into the increased kind of emphasis on corruption and importance of corruption, like in like the general gameplay of Conan Exiles, once you hit a certain threshold of corruption on your character, you then gain the opportunity to then corrupt your perks. It's cut off by the logo at the very top there, but you'll see. Actually, hold on. I'm not going to move it around. But you can see the little pop-ups here, little soul remnants. Yeah, these guys, these little soupy green bottles. Those are soul remnants, and so you can use the sacrificial altar, which you saw on our intro screen, to throw someone on there and harvest their soul.
Yeah.
And then when you take their soul, that becomes a consumable like reagent to then go ahead and corrupt your perk of choice. And I believe, at least right now in this example, each perk point or each attribute point that you want to corrupt costs 1 soul remnant. So, but as you corrupt your attribute, you'll notice that the perks will also change into special corruption only perks. And so yeah, we're just showing strength again in this example, but you'll see that the first tier of perk from strength transforms into something that scales with corrupted strength, and then the second option then turns into no evil villain in the Conan world is complete without a good old kick.
Good mule kick.
Good old mule kick. Hell yeah.
You don't keep your original perk, right? It gets overwritten by.
That's
the
right.
corruption.
You corrupt your body. You corrupt your your very self, and any attribute your character or your person would have had from being strong before, it's kind of wiped away and replaced with this little more twisted version of this.
And sorry.
No, please.
When it comes to dancers and entertainers, so what's the deal with that?
Like things that reduce corruption.
Yeah. So they still do what they did before. One of the caveats with corrupting yourself with the attribute system, when you do corrupt attributes, your character will start to gain uncleansable corruption. So this character in the example here, corrupting an attribute halfway would mean that 25% of their health bar is uncleansable. You can still gain more corruption beyond that point. You can still go up to 50%, but 25% of that will be removable. If you max out any one of these attributes fully corrupted, you will have a permanent 50% corruption on your character, which means you can never go above 50% health. So that's the cost. That is the cost of corruption. It comes at the cost of your health, the cost of your stamina, but it gives a extreme amount of power. This is kind of really like a glass cannon build when you max out your strength like this, because you throw all your health away, but you start to do massive damage with that first corruption perk that lets you deal more damage the more corruption you have, or the more corrupted your attribute is. And that can be cleansed with, the standard mains, any of the standard potions that will reset your attributes. You can remove the permanent corruption and become cleansable again.
Great.
But yeah, if you want to recorrupt, your attributes, then you would have to harvest more souls to be able to corrupt your thing, go through that process. But if you don't want to live with the consequences of your decisions. Like
every time you drain a soul from a thrall, it'll give you 5 soul essence. So it takes 4 lives to corrupt your body. That's the price of maximum corruption, is 4 lives.
And then can you preview the corrupted perks, or
you can't preview them right now?
Okay.
And it's pretty much an in-theme, like an in-universe theme kind of decision, right? Like if you are dedicated to this dark magic, you kind of trust in it that it will give you the power that you're asking of it. And I know that there will be a wiki page up.
Yeah, within like a minute.
Within 5 minutes of the Test Live patch that has all of them. But in terms of the experience that you get to, we want to make things feel as dark and evil and, you know, like perverse as it can.
Right,
so.
yeah. And also like capturing that element of like, you know, you're peering behind the veil or beyond the veil kind of on your own and kind of experimenting and meddling with powers that you may not necessarily fully understand. And so, you know, part of that mystique.
It's the mystery.
Yeah,
exactly.
Part of that mystique is like, oh, you don't know exactly what you're going to get when you corrupt your body initially. And that kind of philosophy sort of extends to the very act of casting sorceries when you invoke those words of power, is that you kind of have to see like what, like there's a description of like what's going on, but like it's not like there's not like an explicit like chain of things that you just select. Like you kind of like as your repertoire expands and you collect more options for your sorcery, I'll say, then you're kind of encouraged to like, oh, like I just got this new page, like time to test it out and see what the hell does this do, and like kind of start to see what happens, and then hopefully not like, I don't know, have it backfire on you. I mean, probably won't happen, but that's
no
the
magic
idea.
will backfire on you. Well, directly.
Yes, for now.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great mod though. Cool. Okay. That covers a lot of that. So that is the attribute system. Next, we want to talk a little bit about the building system.
And we know you guys have a ton of questions. We'll try to answer some at the end if we can. We still have a lot more to go through too. So.
Yeah, we're nearing the end of our initial notes. But yeah, we'll allot for a fair amount of time to be able to answer like whatever questions and concerns that you might have, either from before today or after watching this. If you have anything else that you wanted to ask, we'll try to make some time for that. Gonna switch to us talking heads over here. And so one of the other features coming up is the creative mode. You might have seen a little bit of that in our trailer, but it is the main thing about that is that the entire building system is essentially now housed within a new craftable item simply called the construction hammer. It's a very simple item to craft. It costs like a little bit of wood or stone or something like that, just extremely basic materials. And then once you craft that and equip it like a weapon, it is through that you will be able to access all your building materials, all your various options that you have. And in addition to that, there'll be like one-touch, like contextual options where like you can just like, I think by default is like you press right mouse button on your mouse and it just automatically switches to the delete brush. So you can just like, if you placed a bunch of stuff down and you made a mistake, you can just hit right click,
it's super
delete, and then hit right click again and then go back to building. And then if you, like let's say you're like, building up a bunch of walls and you think, oh, like I want to add a couple details like in this corner, like you might switch over to one thing, let's say you put down a brazier and then you want to go back to building walls. By default on PC, you just press middle mouse button on like whatever thing that you want to go back to building. You hit middle mouse button and then you'll see a little button like above your hotbar, but it'll then select whatever you pressed as like your selected building item, and then you can go back to like building walls, for example. And then that also works with like other placeables like braziers and all that.
Decoration.
Yeah, any kind of decorations.
Anything you put down that can be built through the menu, you just look at it, press middle mouse or R3, and you select that piece and build with it. I can't express how fast it is.
It's so fast.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
It's so much nicer for everybody. It's better for mouse and keyboard. It's better for gamepad. Like, objectively, it is better.
It's so nice, yeah. And then hand in hand with that also is the new creative mode, which you can then, I believe you have to be admin to be able to access that. But what so what it does is it clears out a bunch of unnecessary UI elements because it turns you invulnerable. You cannot be detected or attacked by hostile NPCs. And so it removes your health bar, stamina bar, a bunch of other different elements.
Unlimited
so you get
building.
so you get more screen space, and then you learn every single recipe, like building recipe in the game instantly. You can build unlimited numbers of them. And then there is a toggle fly mode where if you double tap space or double tap jump, you toggle between free flight mode and being able to walk around. Yeah, and then of course like all the other like shortcuts that are available through the construction hammer are also available in creative mode. So like If you want to just like fly around and while you know build up something, like you can just select some walls and build some things up, and then you know go select a torch with middle mouse and then add a few torches, and then just like hit a button to open up the window and select which other building piece you want. Put a bunch of those up and use your shortcuts to kind of slot between each one, and then like fly around it really quick. Or if you want to get back inside and like get a quick detail, like you can just double tap jump and drop back in.
It'll be so much easier to participate in building contests.
Yeah.
The guy in our marketing team that makes all of the awesome buildings that you see in our trailers and everything.
Oh yeah.
Sat down last week, and I had a suggestion for him to mix a couple of our building sets together, and he was like, "Yeah, I sat down for about 15 minutes and threw this building set together, and it looks great. I can't believe how fast the new building system is." So it's there's a slight learning curve when you get into it, and you might be inclined to think, "Oh, this is so much worse." But stick with it for like 5 minutes, and you'll
I
be
promise,
slamming stuff out.
The very first time I got to play like a test build internally, I was just like what's going on? Like I didn't really understand what was going on with my binds. I think this was before the binds got wiped too, so I was like some of the things weren't working. But once everything was working the way it was supposed to be for like y'all, when you get your hands on this update, I was able to just like build a whole bunch of examples and just like have a ton of fun, like really fast. So hopefully you have the same experience.
And touching back on creative mode, right now it is just for server admin, so you do have to have admin to do that. We are working on some stuff that we plan to come out later, no official release date or anything, where we want to be able to make it available for anyone on a server, so you could potentially make a creative server and just say anyone that logs in can toggle it on and off. Or adding that as a setting in a server, normal PvP or PvP server as well.
Oh, and one note, I did see a quick question in chat. It unlocks everything that you as a player can build. So like, if you don't have a specific DLC or coming up like a specific building package or something like that owned, then you won't be able to place those buildings down until you buy the DLC or buy it from or earn it from the battle pass or buy it from the shop or something like that.
I was just informed the creative mode server settings already in.
Cool.
So.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The release date's still TBD. I don't know what you want from me.
Okay. Right. Nice. Very good. Nice. Yeah. I love these live updates that we're getting on Slack here, fresh out of the oven. Thanks, Paul. So yeah, that's an exciting new feature that's also going to be launching with this update.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of other I don't want to say miscellaneous, but there's a bunch of other quality of life changes and balance changes that we'll be making, of course, with the update. Lots of bug fixes. Yeah. We are going to start also working on a bunch of updates to followers and thralls, just across the board. And this is going to be like a multi-stage process. So when the update launches, I believe, generally speaking, thrall HP is going to get nerfed. They will have and damage actually. So generally speaking, they'll have less HP and less damage. However, you can strengthen them with the new what was the new name of the Authority. Yeah. So so now thralls will be the thrall's effectiveness will now be directly affected by your authority attribute. So increasing that will make all your followers and thralls and all that much stronger.
Taking it a step back, we know that thralls are insane right now in terms of the potential damage they can deal and the amount of health they have, and it feels like the thrall is the star of the show. And really, when you're playing this barbarian power fantasy game, we want you to be the star of the show. So we've made some adjustments now, and we'll continue to keep making tweaks and adjustments as we add updates and quality of life features. But like Andy mentioned, thralls will have substantially less health in this update. One of the most notable patch notes is that Beastmaster Tamos had his tables adjusted to be correct. There was a little bit of a bug in those, which led to his absurd health pools.
Yeah, how much did he have?
It's tens of thousands at the moment if you get him maxed out with the right perks. And now you'll be lucky to have him hit 12,000, which is still an insane number, can I still point out. But the changes that we've made are meant to be safe. We don't want to nerf the game so hard that the content becomes unplayable, or you can't participate in it. So we are taking steps to get it to where thralls are less of the thing in the spotlight and players are more. However, that authority attribute is meant to mitigate that as well. So if you're a person who likes playing with followers and you that's just the way you like to engage with the game, You won't gain the health back that they lost, but we did also reduce their damage by 50% across the board. You can get that damage back through the attribute, and the end, like the capstone perks on there are really cool. You can make like a single thrall substantially stronger, or have multiple thralls following you. On top of that, with sorcery, we've added new systems that like modders will probably be interested in for the followers themselves, where we can assign a type to a thrallower, a thrallower, and
like that.
you can change the number of followers of that type that follow you. So if you want to make a new follower type that's unicorns, and make it so 70 unicorns can follow you, that's a thing you can mod in. By default now, whenever you raise the dead with necromancy, you can have 3 undead followers that'll chase you around, and those zombies will fight for you on your behalf. If you pick that attribute that adds 1 to the pool, you can have 4 undead following you around doing your bidding for you.
Great.
Excellent. Then we have other stuff planned for thralls in a future update beyond this one, but I won't make it in for this specific update. But we do have more planned with regards to thrall balance and how you interact with them.
Yeah, one big one that we're planning to go in with Chapter 2 is the down but not out system. So right now there can be a lot of frustration when you just lose a thrall. Something happens, there was no chance you could mitigate it as a player, the thrall goes down. Excuse me. So we've added a system in that we have internally right now, and we're just testing, that the thrall will kind of fall on the ground, or the follower, if it's a cat or whatever, they'll fall down on the ground. You can interact with them to, kind of revive them, give them a pat on the back, bring them back up to their feet, and they'll come up with some lessened amount of health to keep fighting with you. At some point that breaks, and they will eventually die if they die too much. But it's really quality of life for loss mitigation.
Yeah, just giving you an opportunity to, like, if something happens just like way beyond your control, you at least like can bring back like your favorite follower or something like that, and pick them back up. So that way they, if you're just like off doing something else, they just die mysteriously or something like that. If you can get back in time, I'm assuming like you can revive them, but not quite ready for this update.
Someone in chat Cabs is just like, let us poop in game, please.
Okay.
On a more serious note, someone did have a question about what's going to happen with artisan tables.
Artisan tables still exist. We're still looking at how much we want to take off the table and slap onto the build menu. So they might go away. They might just get integrated into the build menu entirely. I don't have anything really official to say on it yet.
Okay.
Cool. And not on pooping either, I'm assuming.
It's not planned for this update.
Cool. Good. Very good.
What's next? Oh, also.
Yeah.
Big feature. Grass.
Yeah, there's a grass update. The end.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding. So now,
can I touch it?
When you place building pieces down now, that pesky grass that would stick through the foundation.
Well, it's finally
it's pulled away
at last.
So it comes along with a cool thing like the rain changes, so it no longer rains indoors.
Mm-hmm.
It's all those little touches that make it feel a little more real, right? And clearing out that grass with building pieces is a pretty big one.
Yeah, having all those blades of grass popping through your storm glass foundations and stuff like that will be a thing of the past.
Oh my God, people are really
at last. Yeah, it's 2022, y'all. We're in the future. Finally, we can finally. We're finally making it so you can't touch grass. You don't touch grass when you build things. Excuse me. Pardon. Okay, great. And then we're going to move into just like a grab bag of various other things that we wanted to just like talk about kind of more rapid fire. This is more like a general thing, but there'll be some combat updates. There will be a new in-combat standing animation that we're actually kind of excited about. Characters will no longer permanently just like be hunched over constantly with their weapon out. Like they will actually stand upright. Like we finally gave them a posture check.
Yeah, it's a similar posture check. But it is higher up. The hips are raised up, and the character stands more upright and less hunched over. So your character feels like they're a little more ready for action and a little less
timid,
trolly.
Yeah, and just like kind of walking around like, oh yeah, it's time. Like you're not just stalking your prey to like go hit some rocks or something.
There's a lot of really minor tweaks in there too that I think you guys will appreciate when you get your hands on it. But the character can rotate a little faster whenever if you're in like controller movement mode. We updated the animations for that. We made changes to lock-on targeting to make it a little easier to use. Like Ideally, I think it would be great if we live in a world where the lock-on is, worth using and switching between. So depending on the context you have at the moment, you might want to be fixated on something and smashing it, or you might want to lock off and turn and go away to dodge something. But the lock-on should place the target in a better space, screen space-wise. Like right now, in live, whenever you lock onto something, it kind of pushes it to the top of the screen, which makes it so your character's looking down a lot. We made some adjustments so it kind of puts them more eye level, and the camera's a little more to the side. While you're locked on, your character can move at full, basically, I think it's full or close to the same speed you can move forward at. So strafe speed has changed, and you can strafe faster left and right now,
cool.
Which also changes the way you engage with combat. Like a lot of enemies that you had to kind of eat attacks from before, if you were locked on, you might be able to actually, step out of the way of the attack just before it happens now, which feels really good.
Good.
Yeah.
We'll also be, in addition to that, we'll be making some changes to just like specific balance, including addressing mounted combat in PvP. So we're going to be adding a damage multiplier when you're on the ground versus a mounted player. This is a weapon specific or weapon dependent, basically a stat. And so like small weapons like daggers will not have much of a multiplier, but like if you have like a spear, for example, that will do significantly more damage.
Stamina damage.
Sorry, to a mounted target. In addition to that, across the board, we are going to be increasing the stamina costs for all hostile actions taken on while mounted, especially the lance. So like,
I saw a lot of people asking about that.
yeah, specifically the lance. Yeah, so stamina cost will be increased for the lance. Additionally, like during like its active frames, like when it's out, that will drain additional stamina, and then each time you hit or impact with the lance, you will have to, like, instead of it just like being out forever and you're just kind of like, you just turn into the Juggernaut and just always like literally have it out forever.
It ends the attack.
It ends the attack, and then you have to kind of like readjust yourself and actually like bring it back down again to then make a follow-up attack. So you can't just like ram unlimited targets in a single swipe.
So yeah, the lance acts a lot more like a power shot on a bow right now. How you hold the button and it holds it out and your stamina drains. But instead of holding the string drawn, you're holding the lance out. And we've addressed a majority of the cases where multi-hits would occur with a lance as well. So a lot of the reason you die instantly to a lance right now is it can hit you like 10 times in a single frame. And we've worked out almost all the problems with that to where you shouldn't be taking really substantial lance damage anymore. And then like Andy said, once one hit occurs with the lance, you hit anyone with it once, it pulls the lance up again, and you have to wait for it to reset and then pull it back down and have the stamina to use it again.
Yeah, so it should still be a powerful option, but we don't want it to be like the de facto like meta for mounted combat, and also just not instantly delete people because of an unintended like effect. And obviously like that's something that we can pay attention to, and like if we feel the lance is still like too powerful or too weak, like we can always make adjustments. That's like number stuff. And then also the at least as of the writing of our notes, that mounted damage multiplier, or that ground to mounted damage multiplier, will also be a server setting that you can change. And so yeah, if you want to make it like extra punishing, you can ramp it up, or if you want to just like have it not be a factor, you can also do that. Up to you. We're also going to be doing some tweaks to some specific weapons. For example, two-hand spear combo timing has been adjusted between the third and fourth attacks.
The window's shorter, so it feels more natural.
Yeah. There will be a larger dodge window on several weapons. And two-hand axes are also getting just kind of an across-the-board damage buff, in addition to a larger dodge window as well.
Yeah, two-handed axes got a lot of love in terms of those windows. Like there were a lot of two-handed attacks you couldn't cancel before with dodge, and it was inconsistent with all of the other weapons, which you can cancel at almost any time when you're attacking. So we changed axes to be more uniform with everything else. Hopefully they see a little more use.
And then we are also making some changes or adjustments to building health. And so drawbridge health will be reduced, I believe, substantially, and then gate frame HP is probably also going to get reduced a bit. Additionally, health for all tier 2 buildings will be going up significantly across the board, to incentivize like that makes it a much more substantial upgrade over just tier 1, so that way you're not just spamming a bunch of tier 1 stuff. Like tier 2 will actually be, you know, the goal is to have that actually be like worth investing into to build up your base.
It also reduces the delta between tier 2 and tier 3. I mean, tier 3 is not the only option if you need to build a base and protect some stuff, right? So we kind of want to try to reduce the barrier to entry and let more people get into raids and more people fighting each other, and having tier 2 be more effective for less cost than tier 3 is a way that you can rebuild bases faster, keep the engagement going, and not feel totally decimated if someone wipes your base off. You know, you can get back into it a good bit faster.
And ideally, like, people actually use doors, because door HP is also affected by this, so you're not just like spamming walls and just removing them to bring it back and all that jazz. So that's the idea. Yes.
Also, I'm so sorry if I'm being like super quiet. I'm reading chat, and I'm also collecting your questions, like a lot of questions that I see.
Yeah, I'm making sure to not have chat like up on the screen, because I'll just get super distracted and get off track. And so Nicole.
But don't worry, I see you.
Nicole is being our all-seeing eye, and so thank you, Nicole. I appreciate that. Was there anything that popped up really quick that you wanted to?
I mean, I've got a couple notes here, but I figured maybe because they're all kind of on topic from what we're talking about right now.
Sure. Yeah. Gotcha.
So yeah.
And then I think we also want to make like demonic fire orbs stronger for siege. Yeah, to do more siege damage.
Demon fire orbs, yeah. I don't remember the exact specifics from the patch notes off the top of my head, but I think Quaglan's going to give me a little fill in here real quick. We wanted to make them a more viable option. They weigh more, and the persistent effect deals more damage. So if you can use these to take buildings out over time better than you currently can with the Demon Fire Orb.
Sweet. I think that covers a lot of the nitty gritty / big broad strokes that are coming up.
Another really big one actually is the stability setting for
tell me about
server
that.
setting. There's a server setting now that's a multiplier that changes your stability on buildings. So if you want to turn off building stability and just build into the ether,
like impossible structures.
Yeah, you can build Euclidean architecture essentially because there's no stability.
Excellent.
As a factor, you can also increase or decrease that since it's a multiplier. The standard loss from like a wall to a ceiling is 20 stability, which is 20%. Right. So if you make it half that, if the multiplier is 0.5, you'll only lose 10 stability going from a wall to a ceiling
and
piece.
If it's 0, it's just
no stability loss, 100% across the board.
So we can make it, Is it
again really great for building contests?
Yeah. Is it Euclidean or non-Euclidean?
Non-Euclidean.
Non-Euclidean. Yes. Finally, my dreams of creating MC Escher inspired. I thought non-Euclidean was the one that was just like does not conform to.
Yeah.
Okay. Hyperbolic. Anyway, impossible structure is going to be exciting. I get to create my MC Escher impossible structures or something. So yeah, that covers all the broad strokes and all the bits that we wanted to talk about, unless something else comes to mind, which it might, and that's fine. So before we go into more Q&A stuff, as you might have seen in the trailer, we are looking to release Update 3.0, the Age of Sorcery, in Q3 2022. Beyond that, as we get closer to that time, specifics will be out. Yeah. But that's all we got right now. And then, if you want to take some questions, because I know there's been a lot of questions and comments that we've seen.
Yeah. Do you have chat up too?
For a bit.
I do,
so.
Okay, so like obviously if you see any in particular that you wanted to answer, but one that I saw a lot was like asking about crossplay. I don't know that there are any plans at this moment, but
yeah, we don't have any plans for crossplay right now.
Okay.
It is plausible and something that's on the table for us, but we aren't making any moves toward it right now.
Awesome. Okay. Any plans on increasing the level cap?
Not at the moment. If the level cap increases, it'll most likely come with some type of content as well. I don't know if it'll be like a horizontal growth or vertical growth in the content itself, but we don't have a really good reason to increase the level cap right now. It also could come about in the form of like progression updates, but those are not anything that we're working on at the moment.
Okay.
Cool.
No, we're not wiping servers. Let's see what else. Do spells have cooldowns?
No, there's still no concept of cooldowns in Conan Exiles. The idea of a cooldown, at least in its rawest form, a timer that counts down and you can do something again, is something that I'm personally going to try to always avoid because it's a very gamey game mechanic, and Exiles is meant to be a game rooted a lot in reality as much as we can make it. I know that there are things that are gamey, but we only do that when it's absolutely necessary. So if we can avoid it through other mechanics, we implement cooldowns in roundabout ways.
Okay.
And you saw also, like the actual act of casting and kind of spell
Could be considered a cooldown of its
yeah,
own.
yeah. I mean, it is a relatively lengthy process. Like you can't just like whip out a spell like off the cuff or something like that. Like you do have to kind of go through that process. So yeah, like you said, that in of itself can be considered like a limiter of sorts in terms of how much you can use it.
This one's asked a couple times, and they're asking about like if there's gonna be any performance improvements on servers. Multi-core servers? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I can't speak about multi-core specifically, but I will tell you this. We are literally always optimizing Exiles. There are points in our development cycle where we essentially kind of step back and analyze everything that is performing poorly, and we make really big leaps in certain places where we can. Even the new content that we're making now requires improvement as it's being made. Like opening the building menu used to cause a large hitch. I think it was something like 750 milliseconds or something like that. And now it's like 40 milliseconds of time between the time you press the button and it appears.
Nice.
We are taking a look into some things like character and server side right now that our optimizations will make things run better for everyone overall. But there's not anything really specific I have to announce about it other than optimization and performance is always on our radar. And while the game is not perfect in terms of performance now, we are always trying to improve it.
Nice.
Sorry, there's a lot. There's a lot.
No,
of
yeah,
questions
you're
coming
fine.
in.
I saw a couple of things about like modding and all that too. This is something that I made a little announcement over the weekend in the Conan Exiles modding Discord. But we just want to reiterate and really emphasize that like modding is absolutely not going anywhere. And then while we don't have like an exact like ETA on when it'll be out, first of all, the update will launch on test live first before it actually goes live, and then we're planning on really. No, we're going to allow for mod makers to have ample time to be able to update their mods for the new update. We're going to release the mod kit
Shortly after the test live.
Yeah, and that'll be still give a really good window between that and the official launch. So that again, that'll give modders an opportunity to update everything they want, play around, and see what else new is possible with the updated systems.
Transmog system for buildings is interesting. It's actually a design I considered as part of this update when we were really early on, but it's not something we're actually developing. For the most part, one of the rules we have for Exiles is that everything should be as dangerous as it appears, right? Like a super scary crocodile should always be a super scary crocodile and not be like a one-hit, pushover kind of thing. And I think that logic applies to buildings as well. We've taken a bit of a liberty with the illusion system to offer like a really nice convenience and quality of life feature for people, but when it comes to building pieces, at least for the time being, we'd like to keep the scary structures looking scary and the tier 1 structures looking more flimsy.
Yeah, if there's like a ton of clamor for that, I mean, we can certainly consider it. But,
we have a design for it, so
it exists. Yes, thank you.
We have a lot of questions on if with this update there'll be new maps or map updates and things like that.
There will be updates to both maps, to Exiled Lands and SIPTA, but they're just the updates that are necessary to add the content to drive the systems forward. So you'll find sorcerers out in the camps. The camps will be dressed a bit differently. You'll see some new pieces in there that haven't been there before. There are a couple new caves hidden away in both maps that I won't really say anything more about. But that's, for you to discover and explore. And, if I show it on stream, it's just going to ruin the fun of it. I'm sorry you have to be patient, but it's really worth the wait, I swear.
Yeah.
We generally try to not show off everything ahead of time, right?
Right.
I want to, though. Like,
I mean, sure.
Full disclosure, I wish I could sit here and just play the game and make you guys watch me for like 5 hours because of all the cool stuff there is.
I mean, I think we have a non-zero number of rapt audience members who would love to watch that, but
So there's this question that a lot of people were asking, but so in regards to Battle Pass Age, will there be ways to get the items from that pass in the future, or once that age is gone, are they gone for good? What's the plan with that?
Our plan for battle passes right now, and it is subject to change based on feedback, based on numbers. One thing that I think is really important to talk about, at least from our perspective, is that we have a very experienced monetization expert that we're working with, and we've taken his advice on a lot of stuff that we're doing. And originally we wanted to say, hey, let's make these other battle passes available all the time, and his advice was that we shouldn't do that. So for the time being, and the way it's going to go in now, unless we hear like really massive uproar about it, is that once the battle pass is done, the battle pass is gone. Regardless, we're not going to re-add those items to the shop. We're not going to say, here's this exact item you got in the battle pass. It's a thing that was limited availability. You paid for it. You were there when it happened, and now you can just buy it in the shop 6 months later. It's not a thing we plan to do. We may do variations on some of those items. So if there's like a really cool bookcase, we might mod it some, change the contents of it and its name, and create a alternative closed version to it. But you'll never see that one-to-one same item in the shop that's in the battle pass.
Yep.
Cool. Let's see. People were asking if thralls or followers can use sorcery as well.
Sorcery is, for now and probably for the foreseeable future, going to be primarily based on the player, right? The fantasy is about you. Like this is like a thing you can live out when you play the game. So we don't have magical thralls that'll run around and cast spells with you. We do have sorcery thralls, but they're currently integrated into a workbench. They can't follow you and fight with you. We do have mounts that have sorceress properties, right? You'll see this whenever you see some more of the battle pass and shop stuff, some more of the sorcery stuff that's already included for free. There will be new mounts included in that have sorceress properties, but at the heart of it, we really want you or the people around you to be the people deciding to make that leap into corruption and decide, hey, I want to be the bad guy.
Yeah, this power fantasy is about you. Like the illusion, like the mirror image thing that you can cast as part of sorcery, like kind of sits there and like acts like they're casting spells, and doesn't actually do anything. So that's about the closest thing probably to actually having like an in-game unit that goes through the motions. But
someone asked if undead followers will follow you forever. They won't. They actually have the system that internally we call Rot and Decay, which is a system for them to, rot and decay over time. So whenever you summon a zombie follower initially, or an undead follower, their skin will be more intact and fleshy, and the longer they exist, the more it'll rot away.
The more gross they get. Hell
you can see the gross green, pussy sinew and stuff below.
Fuck yeah.
It's really nasty, and it looks awesome.
Part of my French.
But yeah, part of the trade-off there is that it's really easy to get one of these followers, and whenever you initially summon them, they start at level 20 all perked out. So they're a bit more throwaway than your standard, dressable follower. Like the undead cannot wear extra armor or use different weapons. They have their own set of attack animations and everything,
but they're just like strong out of the gate.
They're just powerful right off the bat.
Can you change that the rot time, or?
It's not a setting right now. It could be a server setting we could look into though.
Okay.
Cool.
There also might be a mechanic. We might also be able to play with a mechanic with it too. Like if you feed them a certain item, then it extends their life or something. That's cool.
I saw this a couple times in chat, and I just wanted to bring it up. I've seen a number of comments talking about, are you gonna move over to Unreal 5? Highly unlikely. Honestly, at this point, I feel like because we have a lot of custom work done in the current version of Unreal that we have to make Exiles just work. Period. And so it's not there's not like a button or whatever to just like port it to. Maybe there is, I don't know, but there's a lot of custom work that we had to do that. If we want to, it's not as simple as just simply migrating it to Unreal 5. And
I'm super glad you asked this question because it's like this is the best place I could possibly reply to it.
All right.
I troll Reddit and the forums all the time, and this is one of the number one things we see is like, when will you guys upgrade to Unreal 5? Yeah. So I'm going to give some history on Unreal Engine to begin with, and then we'll talk about the state of Exiles.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So Unreal Engine, the the numbers that you see, Unreal 3, Unreal 4, those are where the major massive iterations in the fundamental structure of Unreal changes, where you're literally working with a different product. Unreal 3 is like entirely separate from what Unreal 4 is. It was built upon it foundationally, but the way that their systems work architecturally are different. So Unreal has different revisions, and that's when you see like 4.5, 4.6, 4.25, you know, etc. Those versions, all of those Unreal 4 engine versions are very, very, very similar, and they do get minor changes like performance upgrades, you know, new tools that we can use to make content and things like that. That's actually one of the biggest things that comes in, is just like new VFX tools, or, you know, new animation tools or things like that. By and large, those don't affect us in terms of delivering a cool game, right? So our version of Conan Exiles was made in Unreal 4.15. And if you know anything about the timeline of Unreal Engine, 4.15 is around 5 years old right now. I mean, I think it was around 2016 or 2017 that 4.15 came out. And whenever we started making Exiles, we had to do heavy modifications to get it work with our internal backend, to do everything that we need for character creation and server communication and all of that stuff. Those modifications have essentially locked us into Unreal 4.15. What we can do is take features from forward versions of Unreal and backport them to that 4.15. So Conan Exiles will never be anything other than 4.15 with heavy modifications. It is no longer possible for us to take the project, right-click, update engine version in Windows, and select 5.0 and make it Unreal 5. It's not that simple for us. If we were to do that to the project, it would generate months of backlog work, updating the systems that we created for 4.15 to work with the changes that have happened for 5.0. Even 5.0 is actually just like 4.27, like, or 28 or whatever, for what it's worth. Like, the changes they've made have changed it, and there's a lot of performance upgrades, and that's what makes it worth calling it a new product. But we will never be Unreal 5 specifically in Conan Exiles. If we make Exiles 2, yes, we'll use whatever the most recent version of Unreal is at the time. But, sorry to drone on about this, we will never update Conan Exiles to be Unreal Engine 5.0. We can take performance increases and gains from later revisions and backport them into what we have now. That's cool. The story.
Great, thank you. I appreciate that.
Exiles 2 when? Someday.
LOL.
I think there's almost no question that Exiles 2 happens. It does just become a matter of when. It's not a promise, just a observation.
Nice. And I saw one person ask again. Yeah, update 3.0 will hit test live before it goes officially live.
Absolutely.
In Q3 of this year. So yeah, we plan on launching later this year, and then there'll be a pretty like a substantially earlier version on test live, so that you guys can all check it out, and just let us know how you feel about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw also some questions about the Atlantean sword and the royal armor. Unfortunately, that's something that only pre-purchased buyers received, so unfortunately we can't give those out.
Yeah, that's an exclusive to pre-orders. Yeah, and because that was an exclusive for pre-orders, like, you can't just like freely give those out after the fact, I believe. Now,
when was that now?
It could be a case where we do like modified versions of it or something. Though, like, we could make like a tarnished Atlantean sword or something.
Yeah,
it's like the rusty kind of, nasty version of it. Just spitballing, but those exact items, those are going to be pre-order exclusive forever. Very sorry.
Yeah, the Atlantean sword and the royal armor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So certainly possible with the system we have, but those, like Dennis said, those specific items will remain as pre-order exclusives. So I'm just like reading over some chat stuff now.
Yeah, feel free to.
Feed system rework. Yes.
I don't know how much longer you guys want to take questions.
I suppose we can do. I mean, how are you feeling? We're coming up on the 2-hour mark right now, and so I'd be happy with taking about 10 minutes more questions, and then if there's still like a drove of things that we need to address, we can have a follow-up, like, Q&A exclusive stream. And of course, we have our forums and social media. If you want to leave us a comment there, ask questions there, if we have an answer for it, we'll work to answer them as to the best of our ability within reason. So how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, pretty good. A lot of the questions that are coming up, a lot of stuff has actually been answered. If you guys go back through the VOD, you'll probably see an answer to a lot of the things that are still being asked. Someone did ask how Battle Pass will work on private servers. I did mention before that it will be on private servers. It'll work the same as it does on an official server. Yeah. You just log in, do the challenges, get the progress.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else? Yeah, we're just going to be going over.
Two-seater mounts.
What?
Two-seater mounts.
Oh, yes.
We don't have.
Oh, God, I wish.
Yeah, we don't have two-seater mount plans right now. Could be a thing we look into for sure. Someone asked if the the transportory pads will work on, or how those will work for like privacy. Right now, they link between your clan. If someone were to not belong to your clan and stand in that pad, they would see the same options your clan sees, because the item is rooted in your clan, but it's not exclusive to your clan.
Gotcha.
I don't know if this will ship or not, because we are still going through polish on the system, but we have had an option to be able to switch between private and public networks, to where people could build one and mark it as public, and then every other public one can see that one. So people could set up networks for one another to move around the map with, potentially, if that ships.
Sweet.
Character transfers are being addressed, and we don't have a date on those just yet. There was one question. I'm sorry. Hold on.
I saw one person be like, "Let Nicole talk."
Oh, I'm talking. Sorry, I'm like I said, I'm very into you guys here in chat. And going through.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah. If I've been like talking over you, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Can you put players on the sacrificial
that's a good
altar?
question.
You cannot put players on the sacrificial altar. Much like the player interaction with the truncheon now, you can't knock a player out to put them on there. Mainly because I feel like it would be a really bad experience to just lose control and be roped up for an indeterminate amount of time until someone decides to do something with you.
Someone's very curious about your watch.
Yeah, I saw that. That's why I was like furled my brow. I'm like, my watch, like this, like it's
a nice watch.
It's shaped like an old school like Casio watch, but it's actually a Timex, and I like it because it just has this like elastic band that I can. Yeah, it removes all the extra like annoying steps of having to like clip it on my wrist. I don't know. Yeah, there's just no least path of resistance to getting things on, because I like to be able to just slip it on.
The Watcher furniture, so someone's asking about Twitch drops also.
The Twitch drops, yeah.
Same rule as pre-order items. If you own those, they'll appear in the build menu, yeah, but we're not going to sell those exact items or add those exact items to the Battle Pass or anything like that.
Yeah, that's not to say there might be variants of it or something like that,
yeah,
or like the modified versions of
we
them.
could do modified versions, and I don't mean like just a recolor, but also some kind of
like extra
variation
different
on
geometry,
yeah.
Ships or boats planned?
No boats planned. Yes, new mounts. Yes, new pets.
For the record, I would love that personally.
Right.
And I recall like we put a lot of focus on the ship things that we added with the new lands in SIPTA in the south. Yeah, so it would be awesome, but we have no plans for that. So that's what my like. I didn't mean to like scoff. I hope no one thought that I was just like, yeah, I wish. Kind of. That's more what that was supposed to be.
How dare you ask?
If we ever do anything
please.
boat related, it's most likely to come in the form of an age, like harkening back to Conan's time as a pirate. Essentially, they would probably be a large feature that came out, not just something you drop in the water and there it is.
Right.
I don't think there are plans for a Switch port. Unfortunately.
I don't think so. No,
Not
sorry.
the moment,
Yeah.
Servers will not be wiped.
Yeah. New map with dinosaurs? I mean...
You joke, but we've talked about this.
What?
There's a specific time and place in our lore that makes sense for us to have a new map with dinosaurs, potentially. Not a promise, just an observation.
You get dinosaurs when I get my giant mechs. My giant mechs in my Conan. give me Conan 20XX.
My favorite part of 3.0 is hard to define because I love all of it. Like, you know, this is one of the first features I've worked on personally where I've been really responsible for making sure everything is cohesive and tied together. So I've had my hand in every single thing you'll get to some degree, and we've tried to make it all feel like an experience that ties together. If I had to pick like one specific thing out, one thing that is like my favorite, it's really hard to say. I really like the corrupted attributes part the corrupted attributes, because it's like, okay, sorcery is this really inherently evil, disgusting, corrupting thing that makes you a vile human for participating in it. And the attribute system, I don't know how many people really think about this, but they're attributes of you as a person. They are your, you know, they are how you have developed as a human. So to take something like your strength and say, I'm a strong man, you know, I've been my whole life, you know, I was raised on the wheel of pain. I smash rocks with a pick and I cut down men with a hammer. And to say that, okay, now I'm evil and I'm vile and I'm really investing in this, and that strength that I've been nurturing my whole life is now corrupt to its core. And to see your physical attributes of strength be eaten away by the purple bar as it corrupts is really powerful to me.
Yeah, so you can actually like, live out the true fantasy of like, yeah, like you said, like corrupting everything like to your very core, like your very essence has been corrupted, and it's not just like a veneer of like purple and like and a stat nerf.
Yeah, someone said Red Sonja question mark, which isn't really a question in itself, but we do not own the rights to Red Sonja.
Oh yeah.
So we do own Conan, but Red Sonja is outside of the Conan IP, even though they mingle.
People are asking about being able to dye saddles.
There's nothing coming in 3.0 that will add saddle dye. It is a quality of life thing that we can add in our to-do list, though, for sure.
It's a good suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sharks for Sipta.
Technically, Sipta has sharks.
Technically.
They eat you when you swim too far away.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just looking at all these things now.
I don't think there's gonna be wands.
No,
there's like a little like. There's
but yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Little tiny like.
The weapon, quote unquote weapon. I actually had it labeled as a tool because I don't want people to think it's a weapon that you fight with and do combos with. But yeah, it's called an arcane focus.
Yeah, this little lad that you're holding here.
The whole idea is that it acts as literally a focusing point for the magic that you're channeling. So you speak these demonic words, and the power runs from the runes into the focus, and you can see when he's casting, the things that he casts get sucked into the focus, and yeah, it's literally there to amplify the magic that you're performing.
Yeah, and the effects will like change color, kind of like depending on which spell
which domain of sorcery you delve into, and it'll change colors. Yeah, so there's like a common language. If you see someone casting something green, you know they're doing something in the realm of death. They're about to bring something dead to life, or summon a soul from the beyond, or something.
Can we talk about this?
I don't know. Can we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a reason we haven't. Or...
It's not included in our notes, but people are asking about the event system, and the event system is getting a little bit of a, I don't know how to say it, like PR rework or something like that. Whenever we released Grave Matters, we released it as an event for people to participate in. Go here, test this thing, see it, get some cool reward. And the reason we did that is to test the back end of the system, to detect if there were major bugs or flaws with it, to work on security concerns for it and everything. So new events will be coming out with 3.0, but they're not going to be signposted on the map to where we put a marker on it and we say, go here, do this thing. We're not going to have a big marketing push that's like, a new event has been added. We're going to add several. I think there's maybe 5 that will be launched with 3.0, including Grave Matters. So new events will occur, but I'd like everyone to think of them more as random encounters than events that we celebrate, like a holiday or something like that. So we can add random encounters that reinforce the theme of an event or a holiday, but for the most part, we're not going to say, here's a spot on the map, go do this thing.
Right.
It's a thing for you to see. We want it to be something that you stumble upon organically and things that just change the way you encounter the world. There's some really cool ones in there too.
Nice.
I guess I don't want to spoil those either, but I'd like you to stumble upon them and find them for yourself, and hopefully you feel motivated to dig in and see what nefarious deeds are occurring in the events.
Yes. So yeah, like Dennis said, like this isn't to say that there will be other like major events taking place within the game, but there'll be things going on, but they won't be without as much fanfare as like Grave Matters, for example. Like Grave Matters was like sort of like a seasonal thing, and also like a teaser for this update. And also like a live test run of like a lot of the back end work that we made to the game to be able to facilitate these kinds of like more live event or like live encounter kind of deals, as Dennis said.
Someone said, I really want to know if there will be a chance to earn Crom coins in the wild. There will not. The Crom coins are only a paid currency. You will get them refunded back from the battle pass, like I touched on earlier, but it's purely a paid currency that interacts with the battle pass in the shop. Also, back on events, people asked about the egg in the trailer.
Yeah, what is that?
Part of an event.
Ooh.
Question mark. What could that mean?
No answers here, just more teasers. Sorry.
Oh, yep. Another countdown for another teaser, right?
Yeah. Countdown to events begins today.
Yeah. We thought about starting the stream with like a thing being like, oh yeah, like thanks so much for coming to today's announcement about the announcement that you saw like last week, and we're thrilled to announce that we're announcing another announcement. But then this weekend happened. We decided not to do that. Yeah. Mom. Anyway, more
body/hair types. There's some work that we need to do before we can add a lot more to the base game in that realm. One funny thing is that was written as body /hair types. But we've actually talked about also adding body hair types. So, you could be, fully hairy or not.
Just give me my happy trail, please.
Adding more layers of customization is a thing we always look into. We just have to be able to justify the amount of time that it takes versus the amount we can get out of it, right? In terms of like player engagement, what they like. Like, we want to put the most development time into the things that people will engage with the most.
Yeah, I have definitely seen a lot of requests, here through chat and and a lot of comments on the forums and on YouTube of, just like having alternate body types, particularly to like support like more like portly body types, some bigger daddies.
That's me.
Etc.
Like when I play a game, I want to play the biggest guy I can.
Like, not just like ripped, but like I just want to be like
thick. Just a huge
lad.
See my Sea of Thieves character.
So certainly something that we'd like to see.
Yeah, it's about relatability. You want to feel like your character is like you, and
of course, yeah. And I just if I want to add a little bit of a fur coat to him and put on a little bit of extra thickness, I want that. Yeah.
Yeah. How much will Battle Pass cost? I can't say the exact price yet because we are still working on finalized prices. Mods over 2 gigabytes are on our radar as well. That's a big thing. A lot of the things that we talk about internally revolve around mods because we'd like more people to be able to use mods. Obviously, there's a big part of our player base that can't use mods right now, and it's a thing we'd like to change. But again, it's like the amount of development time versus the, what we don't put out as a result of working on that.
Yeah, that's a pretty significant technical hurdle, especially when we have to factor in hardware that with like very limited memory, for example. So again, yes, certainly something we're aware of. It's just if we could wave an arcane focus and just make that be, we would. But that's unfortunately in real life, it's not quite that simple. Maybe one day. How are we feeling with questions and all that jazz? We're just about at the 2-hour mark, so first of all, thank you so much for staying tuned in and all that. And thank you for your questions.
Someone asked, I'd like to know if we're finally going to make the PvP servers for everyone time-wise. Fair for everyone time-wise in 3.0. This is one thing I'm going to talk with the team about still. You guys are hearing it first before they are, but I do want to increase the harvest and XP rates on PvP servers so it's faster. Like, I just want it to be faster, right? Faster for people to get in, level up, grind stuff out, make bases, and fight with each other.
And that way it isn't as like morally devastating.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things. When
you lose something, yeah.
When you lose stuff, it matters less because it was easier to get. So, hopefully that can increase engagement there. I think there's a sweet spot to find there, because if we make it too easy, then it gets boring really fast.
Right, because it eliminates the point of PvP. Like,
right, we have to find where like your stuff still matters to you, but it doesn't make you want to quit the game because you lost everything.
Yeah, kind of like as a personal anecdote, I actually have a close friend of mine who, like here in town, who actually is an avid Conan Exiles player, and he specifically cited like he had to take a step away from the game for a while because he was on a PvP server and like he put a lot of time into his base. And like woke up one day and found it completely destroyed, and like he actually like logged in to watching people destroy his base and like killing him as he like was waking up from all that. And so I can empathize with that, and I know he's not the only one. But again, we have to find that nice balance. Okay. God, Chad's just like going crazy. But yeah, we're gonna be here for like 12 hours if we have to answer every single thing. So I think now's a good stopping point for today's stream. We're running over just over 2 hours, but we are still constantly reading over things that are being sent at us over social media, comments on YouTube, here in chat, of course on Discord and our official forums. I invite you to just like come onto the official forums, make a thread, praise Yogg and see whatever things you see here, or if you want to yell at us about something, go ahead and let us know in the forums now that you have the more complete picture of what's going to be coming up. And then, we'll try to answer what we can through those channels. And then if there's enough like clamor or enough like questions that, we feel that justifies like perhaps making another stream specifically for Q&A, or like making a short video that answers all these things, or even an FAQ, we'll visit that if it comes up. So, that's it from me.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add, Nicole?
No, just follow us on the Conan Exiles Twitter, Instagram, Facebook for more updates and silly things that we like to post.
Where is this
I can answer questions on Twitter too. People want to ping me at Den Makes Games.
What? Oh no, I didn't lock this down.
That's all right.
It's fine. Sorry.
Yeah.
1 sec. Sorry, I'm just being a goon. Great. I'm gonna put these things up here so you guys can see above Nicole. Oh my God, above Nicole's head. So yeah, these are our various social media channels. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at these at these usernames. Now it's attacking Nicole.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
Just leave us a comment there, or just like if you want to joke or talk about, I don't know, call me Argon McMahon Bun, that's fine too.
About poop.
What's up?
Ask about poop.
Ask about poop. Yeah, whether or not when we're adding a full defecation system into the game. So there will be a recording up on Twitch and YouTube following this. So if for those of you who couldn't watch it, that'll be there. Beyond that, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for staying tuned in. I know for some folks it's super duper late.
Yeah.
I know,
thank you.
Yeah, I know. Like for our outcasts in Japan, it's like 2 a.m. now. So, thank you for watching.
Australia.
What's up?
Mates in
Australia. And our buds in Australia.
That's
yeah.
Right.
It's like 3 a.m. there or something like that. I want to say it's like over 12 hours difference. I think 13. Anyway.
Okay.
Thank you all for tuning in. This is a really exciting time. And we'll see you on the forums, on social media, and with more to come. Bye. And
Please.
No, we will never stop. Mike's still on. Love you. Bye.